I thought that last year the teachers had agreed that they wouldn't do this anymore.
In the 7th season episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, The Pegasus, we're introduced to the concept of Captain Picard Day. Jean-Luc, of course, is a tad embarrassed by the gesture.
Captain Picard Day?
It's for the children. I'm I'm a role model.
It makes sense that a humble man like Picard would be irked by the exaggerated impression the Enterprise's kids have of their captain. But Picard Day is endured for Star Trek fans because of it. Sir Patrick Stewart's noble hero embodies our greatest hope for what Starfleet and Star Trek itself aspires to be.
If the cause is just and honourable, they are prepared to give their lives.
Each of Star Trek's captains help embody the franchise's loftiest ideals. The devil-may-care heroics of Kirk, Archer's fallible humanity, Janeway's curiosity and Sisko's heart. But the reason we love Picard so much is that he seemingly, almost impossibly, encapsulates all those ideals in a single indomitable man. He's a scientist,
Mystery,
an explorer, a diplomat, an ambassador, a patron of the arts, be they the classics or the pulpier stylings of Dixon Hill.
The bellboy suit. Are you moonlighting at the Fairmont?
Picard is the embodiment of the society Starfleet's utopia is built on. He's a man who champions its rights and freedoms, not just for his people on the Enterprise, but the countless worlds they encounter along the way. Picard could know barely anything about your planet and people, but the minute he saw an injustice, he'd be willing to lay down his life to fix it.
I'm afraid we're going to have to evacuate your people. Evacuate?
There's a reason so many of Picard's best moments from The Next Generation aren't action-packed drama or ass-kicking space antics. Don't get me wrong, he did get a ship maneuver named after him.
A vessel in the Picard maneuver might seem to disappear.
But what we truly remember are his stirring speeches, the passionate moments where the weight of Picard's words carried the day.
Children are created from the building blocks of their parents' DNA. Are they property?
Who doesn't get chills when he defends Data's right to exist in the measure of a man, or defies terrifying Cardassian torture in Chain of Command?
There are 4 names!
But underneath that eloquence, there always remained a deeply emotive man. In the inner light, we watched him live an entire lifetime, something no one else could ever understand, then have to pick himself up and carry on as the Enterprise's captain. It speaks to the compassionate man that lay beneath his austere surface. Of course, he's still a badass sometimes. Picard may be more of a diplomat than an action hero, but the moments where he breaks out of that shell are powerful. We all remember in First Contact his desire for revenge against his own white whale, the Borg, the fury with which he displays a desperation, a recklessness, and a vulnerability that we hadn't seen before.
The line must be drawn here! This far, no farther!
But while it's an awesome line, it's made powerful by the moments that come after, when Picard realises the folly of his revenge fantasy and pulls himself back from the brink. The times he wavers end up reinforcing our own belief in him as a man and as a hero, as it takes a strong person to grow from understanding their own weaknesses.
There are times, sir, when men of good conscience cannot blindly follow orders.
Picard's deeds are important and have saved countless lives, but we remember his wisdom, his kindness, his courage, and the words that continue to guide us. They're attributes we know he will momentarily waver from in his solo series, which is what makes that show such an intriguing idea in the first place. We've watched Picard champion Starfleet's greatest ideals time and time again in the face of the gravest threats. The very thought of him faltering from his noblest characteristics is frightening, not just because of everything he's done, but because of what we've come to expect of him. But in the weight of that expectation, there lies hope. Because deep down, no matter what causes Jean-Luc Picard to waver, we know he'll come back. Because that's what he does. It's what he's always done. It's why those kids have dedicated an entire day to him, and why we continue to do so to this day. The fact that he's so humble about it all, even a little embarrassed as he is in the Pegasus, is part of the charm. Because to Captain Picard, everything he does is what any good person should do. It's just the right thing.
I'll be on the bridge.